ancient settlement.
Well, this is a about 30-year-old tradition of first the Historical Society, now Historic Macon, sponsoring these guided tours of Rose Hill Cemetery, which is our most historic cemetery, I dare say, being 1840 and therefore earlier than most. And what I will do is go over just a small portion of the 68 acres of the cemetery, and we'll talk about people who are buried in various places and things about the art, the sculpture in the cemetery, and about the planting in the cemetery. And so those are the main things that we're talking about today. Well, he was a boy genius who seemed to come by architecture naturally. His godfather paid for him to go to Columbia University to architecture school and then on to the Académie des Beaux-Arts in Paris and take the grand tour of Europe, all the while sketching and taking notes. And then he came home ready to go to work, and he worked in Macon for a number of years, designed a lot of houses and important buildings other than houses. But then he got a lot of work in Atlanta, so he opened an office there. And then he closed his Macon office, but continued to design in Macon. But the tragic thing is that he died at the age of 41 of brain tumors. And it's just amazing the amount of work and the quality of work he did for such a young man. We're going to see the Woolfolk family, the 9 members who were murdered in 1887, and the great controversy. We'll talk about the controversy over whether it was a brother and son who committed the murders or a stranger. It's a mystery over whether Tom Woolfolk is the murderer. He was convicted and was hanged, but there are many people who don't think he was guilty. So.
And is he buried here, or is he somewhere?
He's not. He was hung in Perry and buried down there rather than in Macon because of strong feelings against him locally. Oh yes, John B. Ross Juhan, who died at the age of 8, and he was like a mascot of one of the local fire companies. And the firemen were so devoted to him and to his memory that they collected enough money to have an elaborate sculpture done for his tombstone, complete with a little fireman's cap, belt, and jacket, which is just a really touching monument.
And why is it important to remember the people that have gone before us and to do things like this Rose Hill Ramble?
Well, as a history teacher, a former history teacher and a historian, I believe in history. And of course, these people made history. They contributed to the history. And so understanding them and their lives and the times that they lived in and what they contributed is important to understanding our own time.
We're familiar with Rose Hill, but it's really nice to hear Jim's presentation of it. He knows it well, and it makes it more interesting. We come over here sometimes to wander around ourselves, but it's best to do it with someone who knows a lot about the cemetery and the markers. Well, important. It's probably important for historical reasons and also to support the Rose Hill Ramble as an organization. But it's more fun than it is important, I think. I think almost anybody could enjoy it. The stories are terrific, and the interesting connections with current people in Macon. You see so many family names that you hear all the time. So it's good. It's good fun.
If you're interested in cemeteries or in local history or in interesting stories about people, then put it on your calendar. The Sunday before Halloween will be the next one, and then the next year will be the Sunday after Easter. And we'll love to have you come and support Historic Macon and find out about Rose Hill Cemetery.